Hello and welcome to SureFire Live. Thank you guys for joining me. We had a little technical glitch to start the show, and I've got my guys from Rush Profits and Rilla Voice backstage, and we're ready to go. So I will wait for the crowd to develop a little bit, but it should be a great show. It's some really cool, innovative partnering of some known things and some unknown new technologies, and I think it's going to be super great for our industry. So I can't wait to show everybody that. As you guys know, it's a live conversation, and I play off comments. We're going to let them present what they're doing, and then just please ask questions the whole time, and we will answer them as we can. I hope you guys are doing good this week in Nashville. The weather's been a little crazy. I got over the flu. I know the flu's been going around. It's been tough, in business, like have some flu, have some employee situations, have some customer situations. And I think right now of everything, this is one of the tougher times for us, is because we've been going through busy season. We've been hitting it really hard. And now after the holidays, kind of ramping back up for being busy again. And everybody's kind of tired. And so we're getting through it. First comment of the night. How's it going? Same here. Yeah. It sounds like you know the feeling. I think it's kind of a common. We've been hitting it hard. We've all been working hard, and we got through the season, and there's still a lot of work to do. Chad says, doing great. Nice to see you. Sound alive again. Excited to see Rilla. Cool. Chad said, if I ever wanted to hear the sound of somebody dead, it was listening to me on this other conversation he and I were having. It was hilarious. So, well, guys, we're going to just ask. I'm going to ask the best questions I can think of. You guys help me ask questions, and we will go to learn something tonight. So let me bring the guys on. We got the famous one, Alan Rush. We got Kevin Rogers, soon to be famous, and emerging new star, Sebastian Jimenez. How are you guys doing?
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. I know everybody's traveling. I think Rush, you've gone through like 17 flight delays today to be here.
It's a nightmare. I literally just landed like 10 minutes ago, pulled off to a parking lot, got my car, and so sorry for the lack of professionalism, but hey, go Titans. Apparently Vrabel's out. What are you going to do?
Yeah, we fired our head coach today. What else could go wrong? I think our owner likes to fire people. She's gone through like 3. I mean, she goes through them quick.
Yeah, she's tough.
Yeah, she's tough. So, and Sebastian, first time I think I met you at the Tommy Mello event. And I saw you.
Yeah,
you guys. Yeah, you guys were there. So thanks.
I was speaking. I was scaring the crap out of everybody about AI. I think I did a good job because people were pretty goddamn scared, man. They were kind of like jittering in their seats. Be like, what's going to happen to my kids, Sebastian? What's going to happen to my family?
That's true.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. Well, AI does scare people. And it's
my wife, just to be clear, my wife is absolutely against this whole thing. She's like, have you not seen Terminator 2? She's like, it's been written. She's like, why are you training the bots to take over? Like, yeah, she's totally against this.
Yeah. Somebody told me to go back and read the Bible and see what it says about AI, and I'm like, I don't think I'm reading the same book, man. I don't think. I think you got a different Bible, man.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them out there. Hey, Kevin, first time really talking to you. Can you just introduce everybody to what you do?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. So I'm a fractional sales manager for Rush Profits. I'll be kind of the conduit between, Rilla Voice, Service Titan, or whatever you use, and just dissecting, the ride along recordings and helping to train the AI so that it, picks up on the trackers we're looking for, so we can compare it against KPIs and everybody gets better.
Well, man, this is all super exciting. Let me hand it to Alan. Alan, tell us what the hell you're doing right now.
Well, man, I've got this mentor in life that's kind of pretty much anything that I have done that has been successful has been through this guy named Mark Stoner, and he has helped me in so many ways. And one of the things that he told me in life is, whatever you decide to do in business, be sure that you're the only one that's able to do it. That's the key to scaling.
It's key to
And so
scaling
that's
right
pretty
there.
much what I've done for the last 10, 11 years, is followed that advice. And then I happened to get some new advice that, hey, man, you don't have to do it all yourself. There's another way. And thank goodness I got introduced to Sebastian and this Rilla Voice company. And they've been doing this for quite some time. They've got some heavy backers and investors behind them. They've been very large in the HVAC and plumbing industry, and they've worked with other coaches. And we're kind of breaking them into the chimney world a little bit. And basically, I'll let Sebastian have the glory of all what their software does. But for us, the basic idea is, you guys know, I'm my entire 2024 is already sold out. Like, if you wanted to hire me right now, it would be 2025, maybe 2026, to have me come to your company and to work with you in the field. What Rilla Voice has done is developed a way for me to multiply myself 100 times. Right? We basically are able to record every single sales conversation that every single technician has, and put it into a database that we have, where, against the sales process that Rush Profits has created, and we have all these trackers and scorecards and KPIs and goals, and it just gives us the ability to see thousands of calls, in a week versus 20 calls. So the data that we're already getting, we've got, I think, 6, 7 chimney companies under the Rush umbrella already. We've got another 5 to 10 that are coming on this Saturday, and it's exciting. And so it's the ability for us to scale and to serve the industry way better. And Kevin and I both flew up to New York City and met with the entire Rilla team, their corporate headquarters. And Sebastian and I did about an hour and a half video podcast that'll be coming out in about a month. We'll have some funny stories from that to share later about Mary and her lambs, Sebastian. And one of my favorite moments of that entire trip. But
yeah, he said something about like how many what does Mary have or something, and I'm like, Mary has a little, and he looks at me and I go, child, and he goes, what? And I go, what? And he goes like, what? And I'm like, bro, I grew up in the Dominican Republic. I don't know who Mary is. Mary to me Mary's the mother of Jesus, and she had a child. Mary had a little lamb. I'm like, I don't know, a lamb. Why would you have a lamb?
That's funny.
like,
And he was just
live,
like,
right? We are absolutely live on a video podcast. I'm like, let me just ask you one question. Just one question.
He's like trying to make a point about like sales, like
words off the top of your head. What comes to the top of your mind? Go. Mary had a little child. No.
He's like, it was so confident. He's like trying to make a point about like, yo, sales is all about psychology, man. Like, you can predict what the next word is if you use like the same. Like, for example, let me show you. Mary had a little, and I was like, child, and he's like, shit. That's not the.
Nobody has ever said that in the history of that question.
Fell. Just total fell. So yeah, that's the partnership. We've if you haven't read the press release yet, go. We're an official coaching partner now, and we're going to work with them, and we're going to change the chimney industry and make everybody. We're going to increase close ratios 35 to 50%. We're going to increase average sales. This is going to be absolutely phenomenal to find all the strengths and weaknesses of every person on our team, and I couldn't be more excited about this partnership. So,
well, and Sebastian, I'll have you up next. Just for me as a business owner, listening to my technicians talk sometimes on recordings, it's cringy. And then to say, why did you say that? What did you say? And now, your program really. Again, if you're a business owner, you run one truck, no problem. You got it down. You're going to say what you say the way you say. The problem is when you go to scale and then you go through several iterations of technicians and you're like, why are you saying that? Why did you say that? What do you, there's words they shouldn't say. There's phrases, there's things, and there's processes that you're like, it comes to light so clearly. So for those who don't know, I was watching the Rilla Voice at the Tommy Mello event. And I'm like, man, this thing is really next level. And my friend Alan Rush really needs to understand how this could change his business. So, Sebastian, could you tell everybody what Rilla Voice is if they have no idea, like the soup to nuts? What are we talking about?
Yes, sir. And thank you, Mark. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Kevin, for putting this together super quickly. And thank you, everybody, for joining. If you're with the flu, if you're with the vid, if you're with God, thank you for joining. So thank you guys for coming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen right quick. Let me just shut off my phone. It's just getting blasted from all ends. Jesus, my brother's calling. He's probably calling about his Christmas present and where it is. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we are live there. Boom. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, here it comes. Yep, got it.
Awesome. So great to meet everybody who hasn't met me. If you guys haven't gotten tired of my face, seeing it everywhere on all the podcasts, so here I am again. So sorry, not sorry. I am Sebastian. I'm the founder and CEO of Rilla Voice. Rilla Voice, very succinctly, we are the leading speech analytics software for the home improvement industry. Speech analytics, what the hell does that mean? It means when your salespeople, technicians, when they go out there and talk to customers in the home, they will be recording their conversations from their phones or tablets, right, on the Rilla Voice mobile app. Just press record, and that's it. And it's not a recording tool, right? It's not a recording tool. It's an AI tool that's going to take all these recordings. It's going to transcribe them into text, and it's going to use natural language processing to analyze all of these recordings to give your technicians and your salespeople feedback on how they can talk, what they can say, so that they can improve their chances of winning, and to help people like Alan and to help yourselves do what we call virtual ride-alongs that are 100 times faster, better, and more productive. The reason we say the word leading in that sentence is that since we started selling this product in January 2022, we went from 0 to over 400 contractors in the space. You mentioned Tommy Mello. Tommy Mello is a great kind of early adopter customer of Rilla. He's already, we did an analysis with him there. They put a group on Rilla. They put another group. They took him off of Rilla to see the comparison. And the people that they kept on Rilla, their revenue generated per lead. So they run 1,000 leads per lead. They were generating $600 more than the people who were not on Rilla, and their conversion rate went up by like 40% compared to the people who are not on it. So we have like some of the top contractors already, some of the top Alan Rush partners here, Lord's Chimney, Rooftop Chimney Sweeps, right? Four Winds Chimney. These are all part of the Alan Rush umbrella. And we've launched with, like HVAC, plumbing, roofing, now chimneys. We're getting into chimneys. We just launched with a lot of contractors. We have like tens of thousands of technicians now using Rilla. And the basic premise for why Rilla is growing so quickly and become one of the fastest growing startups in the world right now. It's not that the AI is cool. It's not that Sebastian's cool. It's not that any of this is cool. It's this fundamental way that we look at sales as a highly competitive sport. Our customers really resonate with that. And the product's designed with that in mind, right? That sales is a highly competitive sport. You need amazing coaches like Alan. You need amazing players like some of your top performers who are probably bringing in hundreds of thousands, if not millions, or in the high millions of dollars, right, every single year for your business and profits, right? And you need a lot of infield coaching and training, right? You need coaches, you need superstars, but you need a lot of infield coaching and training, which is exactly what Alan does, where you can kind of see what the superstars are doing in the field and try to replicate that into a championship winning system that everybody in the team can follow, so that you can kind of develop championship winning teams, right, that win championships. And that's exactly what Alan has been doing for the last kind of like 20 years, just like coaching teams with best practices. He developed an amazing sales system that if you just have your team follow, you're probably going to get amazing results, right? Like 9 times out of 10. The problem, right? The problem with the traditional way of playing the sport of sales is that it's really difficult, right? And that's why I said 9 times out of 10. It's really difficult to get your team to adopt a championship winning system consistently when you have very little clue as to what the hell is going on in the field, right? That's the problem, right? That we can't be everywhere at once all the time, right? That's the problem. And so it's like the analogy that we give, it's like if you think of the best team of all time, the people in Massachusetts, yay, this light is for you. Everybody else, I'm sorry. Boo. Boo these people. So imagine if you took the best team of all time of any sport, anytime, any sport, in your opinion, whatever it is, and you told that coach, listen, coach, we're going to let you coach your players and give them tactics and playbooks and systems and drills, and we're going to let you track results and see if you're winning games or losing games. But one thing we're not going to let you do is we're not going to let you be on the field when the game is going on, right? When the game is going on, you can't watch the game on TV. You can't watch game film. You can't be in the sidelines when the game is going on. You can't be there at all. That's it. You can coach, you can track results, but you can't see the game. Do you think that this team that you're thinking about, do you think that they would actually win any championships?
That's a great analogy.
It is. That's powerful.
It's probably not, right? It's not possible. If you think of this in any sport, it would not happen. But in sales, we've kind of assumed that that's the norm. We coach our players. We implement the system, right? Alan has a great system. We implement it. We track results with Service Titan and other field service management softwares that are out there, right? But at the end of the day, we can't see what's going on unless Alan or myself as an owner, I get in the car and do a ride along with my tech, which is awesome. But if you think of the average sales manager or service manager or owner, they may be doing like, let's say that you manage a team of 5 reps, right? And they're doing 2 appointments a day, 5 days a week, right? Let's say it's 3, maybe. Let's say it's 3. And you're one person and you're doing like 2 days of ride-alongs in the week, right? And you're seeing 3 appointments in those days. In the best of cases, if you're actually doing ride-alongs consistently, in the very, very, very best of cases, you're going to see like maybe 8% of the totality of the appointments. That's like if we told Phil Jackson or Bill Belichick or Steve Kerr, we're going to let you watch the last 5 minutes of every quarter of every game. And based on that, you make your predictions and you make your coaching. That's not enough. That's not enough to win games. And so we at Rilla, we said, let's actually use technology to bridge this gap between sales and every single other sport that exists out there so that we can have a coach everywhere, all the time, anytime, without having to waste so much of their time. Every single time that you're talking to a customer, there's going to be a coach with you on the sideline. It's going to be Alan, right? If you're in Chimneys, Alan's going to be with you with your reps every single day, every single time, without actually having to be there. And the way it works is very simple. Step 1, your people talk. They don't have to change anything at all about what they do. They talk to customers and that's it. Number 2, they record their conversations. Number 3, Alan's not going to have to go and review every single conversation manually. He can, but he doesn't have to because it's not a recording tool. It's an AI tool. It's going to transcribe, analyze the audio, and it's going to let Alan and it's going to let you see the game of sales as it's happening in real time. So this is a demo account that we have with all of the Alan Rush Chimney trackers. You can see here in Rilla, this is a Rilla Voice Conversation Intelligence dashboard. You're going to be able to see how long the technicians are spending in the home of the homeowner, right? So Alan, if he watches this, immediately he's going to be able to tell, okay, Josh is probably spending enough time with the home and a homeowner, but maybe Cody needs a little bit of work here. He needs to be spending a little bit more. He's like maybe more than an hour and 20. Devin maybe needs to be spending way more time in the home with the homeowner, right? And if I can see how much time they're spending, maybe Cody's not spending enough time in the home with the homeowner because maybe he's not following the process. Well, we can go and see in Rilla, we can go and see the entire process, right? So as I thought, Josh following the process, setting the agenda every single time. Cody, he's not setting the agenda every single time, right? Because he's not spending enough time in the home with the homeowner. He's only spending an hour and 14. Well, Josh is spending like an hour and 45, right? And so I can see right here if they're following my process. I can see Cody, are you doing Q&A? That's okay. So Cody's doing Q&A. Is he doing the inspections? Great, right? Next steps. Cody, he's not talking about next steps and not talking about options, right? So right here, in a matter of seconds, what I just did and what Alan can do with all of your businesses is I can actually see if they're following my process like I coached them to every single time, every single day without leaving my house. And so now I can sit down with Cody and I can be like, Cody, you're doing some things really well, right? You're asking the customers for Q&A. You're doing the discovery. But you're not talking about next steps. You're not doing a good job at setting the agenda. And these are the things that we need to work on, Cody, so that you can actually bring yourself to success, right? There's no he said, she said. There's no like, but the leads you give me are bad, man. The neighborhoods that you send me, these people got no money. They don't get approved for financing. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Never
I don't have any of that.
Never heard those. Yeah.
Everybody's clear. Everybody's on the same page because now you can literally see what's going on in the field every single time, every single day. And that's kind of what we want to do with Rush Profits. So I'm going to stop there. So yeah.
Super cool. So, again, another thing to start this off is even if you do a ride along with Alan, or say I did a ride along as an owner, they feel like it's different when I'm with them or when Alan's with them. In this, it's no different. Like it's as close to being the real, not changed by my being in the truck or Alan being in the truck judging. You're just hitting record and you're just letting the chips fall where they may. So it's so good as to not have it. Oh, I don't do well with another person with me, or when you're here, I talk differently. So I love that aspect of it. So
yeah.
So Alan, your step was put this is where you come in, is you put your process into the AI to follow along, right?
Yeah, so a couple things. Like what you just said is, if I had $1 for every time I did a live ride along with a technician who said, "Oh my God, I don't know why I did that or why I said that. I've never done that before in my entire life." Like they turn into like a different person. They're nervous, they're anxious, they want to do things that they think that I want them to do, or maybe they watched a class and they're like trying to implement it for the first time because that's what Alan wants, right? And it's just a total unrealistic view of that appointment. And so when I only do like one ride along, like one day, it's very, very difficult. It's the companies that I work with every month, every quarter, we start to get some repetition. And there's this industry term.
You're famous. When you're famous, and when you ride with them, they're nervous. It's like a star.
Well, and I give this credit to John White of Billy's Sweet Chimney Sweep. He cloned this, what he calls the Allen bump, right? And he's like, Alan, you come out, you work with our guys for 3 or 4 days. We have amazing sales that week.
Yeah, and the results go up.
And we see this amazing, like the next 2 weeks. And then if you were to have a graph, you would just see it go back down. Then you come back up. And so this is going to eliminate the bump, right? This is going to create consistency, because our natural, as humans, our natural sales person ability is to try to get to the end as fast as we can, as efficiently as we can. And a lot of times that means taking shortcuts. And the thing about sales is that you can't shortcut the process, right? And so when we see people starting to deviate from the basic things, we're going to be able to, it's like the dog collar. We're going to be able to kind of correct a little bit and say, hey man, you're killing it here, but these are the things that we really need you to refocus on. And so the thing that that makes the partnership really exciting, and I've told everybody that's signed up with me for coaching on this, is you could certainly go in here and do this on your own with Rilla, right? They've got amazing trackers, they've got amazing things. What we bring to the table on the Rush Profits team, and specifically Kevin, is he's literally going in every single day and training the AI. We've got this Rush Profits umbrella where everybody that signs up under our company has this base tracker system that we are training every day. And so when Kevin goes in and looks at appointments, he'll say, how accurate was this? How was this appropriate? Was this not? And if I'm just being straightforward, I think we're probably 50% accurate right now, right? When we're maybe up to 60%. When I first started this, it was rough. Like, it was like, hey man, this is not tracking accurate at all. But as Kevin is going in and training the AI between all the companies that we're doing, the Rush Profits trackers are getting more and more accurate. And then, give it a couple of months when we have another, 10, 20, 30 companies on, this is going to be, dead to rights, right? So that's the exciting part for me. And it's not
you're teaching it to speak chimney.
We're teaching it to speak solution selling in chimneys, right? We're teaching it to learn what I believe is the right sales process, the Rush Profits process that I've created and that I teach. The big difference is that it's not just, hey, yeah, you're not doing rapport or you're not doing discovery. It's diving into that. It's like, what is rapport? Right? Did you say, hey, how you doing? Right? Oh, good to see you, sir. That's technically rapport, but is that effective rapport? Is that going to get them to trust you, to like you, to buy in? So when we start creating these scorecards in each individual account, we're going to be able to dive into the individual metrics. And the thing that Kevin has created that's so amazing is he's got a weekly report card that goes to every single technician that summarizes. So you don't have to go and listen to 30 hours of recordings. You're going to see one page that says, hey man, here's the number of calls you went on. Here's your percentage of success and the 15 things that we're tracking. Here was your sales goal for the month. Here is where you are currently at, because he's going to have access to the Service Titan, House Call, whatever that you're in. And it's basically, you're getting a full-time sales management system to look at every single appointment every single time for really pennies on the dollar. And if we can't 10x, 20x, 30x your business by analyzing every single appointment that every single guy goes on, making sure that they're making their follow-up calls, all those kind of things that go into the sales process, then, what are we even doing? So, I mean, this is such a game changer for the industry. I can't even tell you how excited I am for it.
Yeah, I love it. So Kevin, let's talk about your role now. You're you're the rookie mode. We can, bash you, we can run you down, you're the new guy.
Yeah.
But so you're kind of like going to be a sales manager, a fractional sales manager for all these companies that are coming on to Rilla and Rush Profits together.
Right.
You're kind of the guy who puts it together and says, and helps us track, because as business owners, last thing I need is another thing to do. And
well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I haven't met a business owner yet that said, man, I have so much time on my hands. Let me go find something I can do.
Exactly.
Right. So, but yeah, that's what I'm here for. It is a very simple system, like Sebastian showed us. It's nice and it's easy to use, but man, it's not what you guys are doing day in and day out. You're running your business, and so I'm new to the chimney industry. I'll confess that right off the bat. But I don't.
So is Alan.
I'm not going to be the pro there. I think that's actually a feather in my cap, really, though, because I know the sales process. I know sales. I've done it a long time, and this allows me to look at all the data from a raw perspective, and then just give the business owners the information and help them make those decisions, what they need to change or add in or take away.
Does that sound familiar, Mark? Do you remember anybody saying anything similar to that like 12 years ago?
So when Alan first got in the industry, he was, he's on the marketing side. He's like, look, I'm not going to get in too deep to this industry. I want to look at it from a distance and keep my perspective. I don't want to get in too deep. That dude has got in deeper than anybody. He's in 1,000 trucks and thousands of homes. He's like, I'm going to be up here right down deep. And so, but our industry has benefited from it so much that Alan decided he was wrong yet again and needed to change his plan. I'm just here for him. That's all it is. Help him understand where he's wrong.
Right.
So what are you seeing, Sebastian, of the companies that are doing this? Like, what are the aha moments? Like, what are the big things that you're this window into the sales call brings?
So yeah, I mean, it's many. It depends on the business, but like the main thing is, honestly, the biggest bang for your buck that you're going to get from the very beginning is you're going to get people to follow your process more. And we literally have metrics that show that the more that your technicians follow your process, the higher their conversion rate is, because we literally look at there's actually we literally have a graph. See if I can pull it up, but I have a graph where it literally shows, like, we measure this thing, Alan knows this, it's called script compliance. How closely are you following your script? And it gives you a score from like 0 to 100. Like, are you 100% compliant, 80% compliance, 20% compliance with every single part of the script, right? And what we see is that very strong positive correlation between following the script and increasing your conversion rate, increasing your average ticket. It kind of stops at like 70%, the script compliance. Like, once you get your top performers who follow most of the system, they kind of like start playing around at that 70% mark. So you rarely get people like at the 100% mark. You know what I mean? But But the biggest lift that companies see is when they get most of their technicians from following 10% and 20%. You'll be surprised. Like the biggest thing that we see with Rilla the first week is like, people's like, oh my God, nobody's following my process. We've been training this and it's only 20%. What?
We totally see that with that process. Like, he's been teaching our process, and then you listen to him, you're like, what happened to the report building part? Or, what happened to the advance, or even this, the company story or what? Like,
I see it all the time, right? All the time. And so the biggest bang for your buck is that you're going to consistently, we actually see that the very first time you put people in to start recording, you get that bump because they feel nervous, they feel anxious, they feel like they're being watched and whatever. So they feel like they're going to ride along, right? But then after the first few weeks, that bump goes away. They go back to normal. It's after the first month, the second month, third month, that you start seeing those consistent improvements, right? And so on average, like, customers using Rilla, they go up by 40% in conversion rate. When I say 40%, it means that, you're at 30% conversion rate. A 50% increase would be that you increase by 15 percentage points. So you go from 30 to 45, right? Like, in a matter of 3 months, right? Yeah. That's what a 50% means, right? So it's like right under 50 is the average. So if you just do average with this program and you just do that average of like, hey, forget about finding a critical insight, right? just literally getting your people to follow your process because you're coaching them day in, day out and like making sure that they're doing it. And then they change those habits and it becomes second nature, like it is for Alan and like it is for the top performers. That's the big bang for your buck. And just doing that on average is going to get you like a 40% lift. Now,
So cool.
I was just in Dallas, Texas. I'm in here in the airport right now. I was
Are you
visiting
in Dallas
our
right
customer.
now?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas. Yeah.
I literally just landed at DFW.
Oh, no way. You probably passed each other.
Like, are you behind me?
Yeah. So I'm leaving. I was here and you're getting. I was leaving. We probably crossed each other.
That's funny.
So Rescue Air, they have a plumbing department, and their service manager, who's like an amazing power user, he went and did an analysis in Rilla, and he noticed that his plumbers were not pitching the membership program because he just looked at the tracker membership and he noticed it was only coming up in like 20% of the plumbing calls that it should have been coming for. And he said, guys, we got to get more people in them. And he just got people pitching the membership program. And then they started growing the membership program 20% week over week. Right? And like, you're not pitching it, and then you are. So then you can get really nuanced with the data, but just literally having it on, having those trackers there, making sure that you're following their process and making sure that's what's going to get you the biggest bang for your buck. Like that's what it is.
You know, in our industry, we're not trying to sell people anything they don't need. What we're trying to do is just get a consistent message to the customer, and they understand, Alan's big threes. What is it? How did it happen? And what happens if we don't do anything about it? Like those three things. But the problem is our technicians get lost in being technicians, and they forget to be good communicators of the story, of the process, and why they need to do what, this foreign language that we just came into their house and started speaking. And so I love the fact that, what you said, getting back the process will cure a lot of woes. Quickly, I got Jeremy saying hello, everyone. Jeremy Maynard, he's a Service Titan guy, and he was at the Tommy Mello thing. I can't see who this is. So said back to hi, Jeremy. And then here's the big problem. Well, he's a Titans fan. I think that was part of the problem with Alan, and somebody is really picking it out here. But Alan, were you getting ready to say something?
No, I was just, Jeremy's going to be on the webinar this Saturday. He's coming on board. Let's get to the webinar thing later. But yeah, I was going to say the one thing that, not one thing, but one of the many things that I love about this is so let's just say you've got a rock star, right? I've got, a couple companies that have $2.5–3 million producers, and to the average chimney company to sell $3 million from one guy doing 3 to 4 appointments a day is like impossible, right? It's not even on their radar. Like it just, what are you doing wrong? Like something's, there's a fix is in, right? And so, but what you can start to do is we can, and this is what Kevin does every day when he logs in, is we start to identify what the top producers are doing. And then we can actually go in and clip audio recordings when they handle certain situations. Like, hey, Alan, that sounds great, man. Let me talk to my wife on that. I will get back with you tomorrow. And let's just say the guy rock stars that objection and is able to get the wife on the phone and is able to convert the deal. Well, Kevin will go in and he'll clip that and he'll put it into a best practices folder for your team. So not only everyone on your current team is going to be able to go and say, hey, when this happens, this is an ideal way to handle that. But when you're onboarding brand new salespeople that really know very little about, handling objections or getting past those, they're going to have, hundreds of videos after the first year to go in, or not videos, but audios to say, man, here's how you handle this. Like, we've been there before. We all know that new technicians, they're their own worst enemy. They're not their customer. They would never buy the products that they're selling. They have price shock to themselves. And when they can see that, you don't have to be your customer. This is all you have to do to win. We're going to start creating these best practices. So I think that is absolutely phenomenal. And the more we train this, the better it's going to be. So that was the main thing I wanted to kind of get into. That this, it may take months, it may take 6 months, it may take a year, but as this thing goes and goes, it gets better every day. And
we'll talk about that real quick, because when I first looked at Rilla Voice, we were talking. I was actually in your booth, Sebastian, and I said, you said, hey, it's going to take your best guys. We did the demo. It's going to show you your best guys and what they do. And I said, yeah, my best guys are great, but I actually know there's better guys out there.
Yes.
And that's to me what Alan,
Yes.
what Alan brings to this is he's actually
Yes.
under his umbrella. He brings in the
Yes.
best of things.
Yes. So that is super critical, right? So, and that's part of the reason why we're excited for this partnership. So, you know, at Rilla, we typically don't even launch with people that have less than 5 technicians. We don't do that precisely because of that reason, right? Because if you have 2 guys and none of them are as good as you want them to be, then it's less valuable to you know, launch a product like Rilla when you're going to have, you know, less data, right, to compare. With Alan putting everybody on the umbrella, now you have your 2 technician company, along with, you know, dozens, if not hundreds of other companies that are under the same umbrella, where the AI is learning from everybody, right? And it's understanding what are the top producers in Alan Rush's system, that everybody who's using Alan Rush's system, what are they doing differently, so that you all get to learn from the very top producers of the entire market, right? From the data, right? That's what this partnership enables us to do. Right.
And it makes, so in this case, and I don't want to overstep, Alan and Sebastian, is this available to really small companies, 1 and 2 guys, or is there a minimum of 5 or 10 licenses?
No. With the Alan Rush partnership, so Rilla on its own, you cannot buy it. You really cannot buy it if you have like less than 5, right? If you're signing up through the Alan Rush partnership, that's where we're making the exception, because it actually works out, because we already have the process in there. We already have the data to be able to like make sure that the AI is accurate for you. The only way it works if you have less than 5 is if you sign up through Alan. Literally, there's no other way to get Rilla other than through this partnership if you have less than 5. It only works with Alan Rush.
Because that's the majority of our industry. What you just did is linked the missing thing from the little guys to the big guys, and giving them a fast track to learning what we're all learning too, but at a smaller. I love that little nugget right there is so game changing for the entire industry. Roughly 50% of our industry is 2 employees or less. That's the majority of who we are. We're such a niche market, and for you guys to make this link and for you guys to make the exception with Alan is just big for the whole industry. I love this. So thank you.
It has not happened in it. Like literally, if you go to Rilla Voice right now and you try to book a demo, and you put less than 5, it's not even going to let you book a demo. So, because we've never done it. But, and it's like, that cannot happen. So, but it's like, because if you think about somebody like Tommy Mello, he's got like 350 people on Rilla, right? Like it's like that's a lot of data that you can have for one company very quickly. You know what I mean? But with 2 people, it's just harder to get an AI product working really well. Not if you add the power of numbers, if you sign up all together under the same umbrella, it's amazing, because it's learning from the exact same, and they're all using the same process, because they're all partners with Alan. It's a really, really good fit. So it actually ended up working out really well.
Friends of Alan. Got a couple more comments. So Ted, I know it. Ted, I did not block you. Facebook blocked you and took your name off here. Good stuff. Love the idea of grabbing the winning scenario clips. And then Jeremy says, we are very excited to get started. This is going to change our entire industry, or at least the ones smart enough to sign up. That's nice. Question, do you see where text mannerisms play a part in their closing rate?
Like what? Like what? Like what?
Would you have an idea? What do you think he's saying, Alan?
What I will tell you is we teach the 3 parts that make a successful salesperson. And if anybody's going to San Juan next week at the Lindemann U, this is the core of my talk. There's 3 things that make a successful salesperson, and that is the ability to build rapport, the ability to have confidence in what you're doing, and to have a successful sales process, right? So I am not even though Rilla is a little bit script oriented, I'm not a big fan of telling people exactly what to say. Like, I'm looking for word tracks, I'm looking for certain things, but I want your personality to come out. out, right? So if I say, hey, do this, say this, and that's not within your wheelhouse, then that's going to come across as disingenuous to your clients. And so I'm more about the big picture than the actual words, but the mannerisms are absolutely, like, I will tell you, if I go to New York City, or I go to parts of New Jersey, or I go to Nashville, or I'm in Dallas now, do a lot of work on the West Coast. If I go to California, even though my process is the same, I assure you my mannerisms and my language is unique. I am much faster in New York. I am much more southern and slow and polite in Nashville. There's those kind of things that will play into it, but it doesn't affect the process. So the other thing I wanted to say on this is that we're talking strictly about technicians right now, but Rilla also manages our CRMs, right? I'm sorry, our customer service reps. So I've got Den Defenders, Mike Fazy. A lot of people watching this are fans of his. You know, he's grown his company dramatically. He's getting roughly 1,500 calls a month right now that we are analyzing and going through on how to increase close rates and how to handle objections from, well, wow, you're $400 and this other guy's $97. Like, why should I buy from you? Or, hey, you're too far booked out. Like, why should, and we're able to train them to the process and to figure out which reps are handling those well, which ones are not, and then putting again those word tracks. So you don't have to just do this for people in the field. You can also do it for people answering the phone. That is very dependent upon the CRM that you're using. I do think that's an important thing that we need to bring up right away is that Rilla integrates with roughly 15 CRMs right now. You do have to have a approved CRM. So a lot of this industry is antiquated. I know, Mark, you're getting off Smart Service now and moving into Service Titan. People that are using Smart Service, this does not work, right? It has to have some sort of open API, house called Pro, Service Titan, Jobber, some of these that are, really that have some sort of internet connection. So that is a big thing that I'm dealing with right now. I've got 3 companies that I'm working with right now that are on Service Titan that are literally moving their CRM to a different CRM just so that they can be a part of this type of process. So that is just something to throw out there.
Let me ask you something real quickly about that. So if I've got, say, 5 licenses, can you assign 3 of them to field and 2 of them to CRM under the same thing, but you just write the AI differently, or what? How does that work?
So we create scripts and processes. We create scripts and processes for, and this is really great with Service Titan, right? So we have, like for Den Defenders, we've currently got 4 scripts currently loaded. Mm-hmm. So we have the phone answering script, right? The how are you doing? Introduce yourself. How did you hear about us? What's your problem? Are you in our service area? All those kind of basic things that we do for the sales technicians, where the entire sweep inspection process. Den Defenders happens to do security screens and doors, so we have a completely different sales track for that. And then with our industry, and we talked about this earlier, Mark, is half of our appointments are not sweep inspections, right? They're estimates, they're known problems, they're leak investigations, and you're not going to follow that entire sweep inspection process if you're going out for a leak. So
installation of an appliance or something.
Installation of an appliance, those kind of things. And so based on how that job type is scheduled in Service Titan, mm-hmm. will basically prompt the right script to, this is the things that we're going to listen for on that appointment. The other thing I want to be really clear that we talked about that, hey, yeah, this is great. We're all learning from the Rush Profit sales system. I don't know if I have I've got 100 chimney clients. I don't know if I have anybody that does it exactly the same way, right? Sure. And every company has these little nuances, and we're able to take the global Rush Profit system, put it in there, and then tweak your individual nuances for your market, so that it's picking up on those things, which is incredible.
So a couple questions real quick. I don't know why I did this. I'm not sure how you grant permission to see your name right here live. If I click on a button, I could shut the whole show down. So I don't know how to help you on that. Jeremy says, how is tonality recognized by the AI? Sebastian, it sounds like a question for you.
Yeah, so right now, tonality is a difficult thing to define even. We actually talked about, when we asked people, what do you mean by tonality? Do you mean pitch? Do you mean their talk speed? And so what we do is we actually measure other things that are more quantifiable than tonality, because tonality is just like what is, How do you, like, is it strong tone and like a mad tone? Like how do you define tonality? Is it by sentiment? Is it by pitch? It's like, how do you do it? So what we measure is, we don't really have a metric that says tonality. Like you're not going to give you a 1 to 10 from tonality, because that's hard to interpret, right? What we do give you is, we give you metrics on how the technician is talking, not only what they are saying. So how they are talking, we measure things like talk ratio. Talk ratio is how much are they talking versus the customer, right? So 50-50, is it 80-20? Like how much are they talking? Is it a conversation, right? That's actually one of the most important metrics. Is like, how much are you talking versus the customer? You manage to make it a conversation, that's actually much more likely that you'll make the sale. The other one is interactivity. How much back and forth do you generate in the conversation? How many times per minute is the speaker changing, right? Long as monologue. How long are you spending doing a monologue? Like I was doing my whole sports spiel, right? How long was your monologue? How long do you let the customer talk without interruption? And then there's another one called patience. How long do you wait to reply to a question? And the other one's talk speed. How fast do you talk? Like I talk like 214 words per minute. The average American is like 150, 160, and I talk really fast. but it'll measure all of these little things and compare you to the top performers as well. So,
we just started with you, and we looked at the patients, what you just said. It was interesting. We barely have any data, so nothing. But one of the early things was how long certain technicians wait before they answer. Like a couple technicians are like within a half second. One of my other technicians, who's a Marine, he waits like a second and a half before he responds. We don't have any data to tell you which one's better or not, but it's interesting that patience or like my wife, if I ask her a question, like on the spot question, she doesn't just come right at you. She has to process it, think about it. And then whatever she says is very well thought out, but don't put her on the spot to answer something like this conversation, like we're having rapid back and forth. She just hates that. She needs to think about stuff before she responds. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, let me ask you this, Sebastian. You've seen a lot of technicians now. What are you seeing is some things that, like what you said, is it like a 80-20 thing for listening to the customer more? Is there a speed? What are you finding is like a wow factor?
Yeah. So, I'll tell you. So we did an analysis. We analyzed 500,000 sales conversations in homes, right? With technicians, comfort advisors, these longer conversations, right? It's like an hour, 2 hours long conversations, right? And across different industries, HVAC, plumbing, roofing, some chimney actually there. Yeah. we put some chimney in there now. So, but it's mostly like other home services, right? And what we looked at is, what is it that the top performers overall of all the industry, what is it that they're doing differently than everybody else? These top 10%, top 1% of people, these are people that are bringing in 3 million, 5 million, 7 million in revenue for their businesses every single year, right? What is it that they're doing differently? And what we saw, and I'm seeing if I can pull up the data here. We saw the first thing is talk ratio. The top performers, they talk 45 to 55% of the time, compared to the average reps. They talk 75 to 85% of the time, right? So talk ratio is super important. So if you can keep yourself in that 45 to 65% range, you're right there with the top performers who are bringing in a lot of money. The other thing is that top performers, how do they do this? If I was a coach and I tell my people like talk less, that's not very actionable because the natural. So how can you get your people to do that? There's a thing that we found that the top performers use. It's almost like a Jedi mind trick. It really is when you really adopt it. It's so easy, so simple. Alan teaches this, but it's so stupid. It's so simple. It's like, well, how do the top performers talk less? Well, they ask more open-ended questions. What we saw from the data is that on average, for like a per hour, the top performers ask 25 open-ended questions per hour versus 5 open-ended questions per hour for the average performers. So 5 times the number of open-ended questions the top performers compared to the average people, right? 5 times, right? So then what's happening is, and what you see is that the average reps, what they'll do is they'll go into the home services. It's a similar kind of entry where you go, it's like, oh, that you say like, oh, it seems you called us for like a leak or something. And how long have you been living in the home? You do like your survey questions, your like initial kind of like checklist of discovery. And then you say like, okay, why did you call us here today? What seems to be the problem? Is this your home? Or like you do like that basic stuff. And then the average reps, they just do that. And then that's it. They don't ask more open-ended questions. And then they go in for example, like, well, listen, I need to show you, but these UV lights that I got, they're actually going to capture your dust. Have you seen the movie Spaceballs? It's going to capture the dust like that. And, you know, it actually cures cancer too. Like, so they start pitching. And so the top performers, they don't do that. They keep asking open-ended questions throughout the conversation. They'll be showing you, they'll be like in the inspection showing you, like, or they'll be showing you the demo and they'll stop and they'll be like, so, okay, oh, that's interesting. So this seems to, what about this resonated with you? It seems like this resonated with you. What about that resonated? They stop and ask a question. They ask an open-ended question. Or they notice like, oh, seems I'm not hitting the mark here. It seems like you don't really care about this. What about this didn't resonate with you from what I'm showing you so that I know how to continue forward in a better direction for you, right? So it's like, and then they stop and it makes the homeowner think, like, oh yeah, thank you. I wasn't engaged with whatever you were saying. I actually don't care about that. I actually want to get back to this. And so they do it in the demo. And most importantly, they do it when they're handling objections, which Alan also teaches, right? You get an objection. What do the average performers do? They're like, oh, no, but it's really not that high of a price. They start, their talk speed goes up, their patience goes down, they start getting their heart rate, they get nervous, and the objections, most of us are not really good at handling objections because we get nervous. It's fight or flight. What the top performers do, instead of their talk speed going up, patience going down, they slow down. They slow the hell down. And how do they do that? They ask an open-ended question. Price is too high. What do you mean by that? What does that mean to you? You know?
We used to say, when you're talking, you're selling. When they're talking, they're buying. And that was,
put the light on that
analogy that I think you hit on, those open-ended questions. When you ask the yes/no questions, then you're forced to talk because there's this weird pausing silence. But so a couple other questions. Question is, could this be used for a manufacturer sales force?
Yes. And they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Answer yes. No problem. And then Bob says, someone asked me, why do you always answer a question with a question? And I said, do I?
Yeah.
Bob is funny.
That's good.
So Kevin, what are you seeing? You're early in on this. You're starting to analyze people's stuff.
Yeah.
What are you seeing early on? Your first adopter, early adopter, your first guy in this role that we know of. Tell us about what you're seeing.
Not answering or asking enough open-ended questions by far. In fact, you hit it kind of the nail on the head early on in the discussion, Mark. You said, technicians kind of focus a little too much on being a technician or maybe solving the problem while you're there, and so with that, they're in the call and they're asking a couple of questions, but it goes real quick to, I know what the problem is. They're assumptive, right? I know what the problem is. I know how I can fix this. I know where this is going to go. I did this same sales process three times yesterday. I'm going to get on the ladder and I'm going to take some pictures. I know how this is going, but they don't create that rapport. And kind of like what Alan was saying earlier, rapport is more than just saying, hey, my name's Kevin. How are you? Love your home. It's showing them pictures of your grandkids on your phone. It's you drag race. Oh my God, I used to do that when I was a kid. All these different. They want to connect with you as a human because we all know people buy emotionally and then they justify it logically. Mm-hmm. So they want to connect with you emotionally, and it's to do that you got to invest in them. You got to ask open-ended questions. I mean, that's really
and truly listen.
You need to do a lot more of.
Whatever they say, truly listen. I've seen guys that just they know the process, but they really don't care. There's just a level of caring, and it could be faked. It could be like, you can listen and not really hear what they say, but just that process of being heard from the customer will allow you to whatever you say in the future, you're more of an expert at it. They trust you a little bit more. They want to tell you stuff, and people will tell you how to sell them. If you just ask the right open-ended questions before you're done, exactly what they care about, what they don't care about, follow along what they care about. Make sure you say what you've got to say to keep them safe and why you're there, and answer the question of why you're there before you leave. But I think one thing too, and Sebastian, maybe you could talk about this, is the importance of company story in the sales process. I think it's missed a lot, especially as our companies grow. It's easy for me to, when I'm in a house, I'll tell them how I got, they always want to know how I started. And actually, I think, Sebastian, I'd like to hear how you started this business in a minute. But company story, how do we do it? Why we do it? When you go a couple technicians down, they may not even know or realize how much it matters to the customer. Can you speak to that at all, what you've seen?
Yeah, 1000%. I'm actually just found some of the data here. So I'll just share my screen here. So company story is actually one of the topics that matters a lot. Can you guys see my screen here?
Yes.
So, okay. So like I said, with Rilla, we can understand how top performers talk and what they say specifically. And when we did this analysis the first time, the first thing that we saw, these 3 key topics showed up, right? The top performers of the entire country that are bringing in millions of revenues for their business, they're talking about financial terms. So that's like financing, but not only financing, like how are you going to pay for this? Is it cash up front? Is it cash right now? Is it a monthly payment plan? Like what's the actual financial terms of the deal? The top performers talk about that 7.8 times more than everybody else. They talk about the company story 4.4 times more. So they use the company story 4.4 times more than everybody else. 4.4 times means that if the average rep is using a company story, 10% of the time, the top performers are using it 40% of the time. If the average reps are using it 20% of the time, top performers are using it 80% of the time. You see what I'm saying? Which is actually, I think, close to what the averages are there. And so they're using it more. And this is a really fun thing that we found. The average rep, and they do a company story, as part of the sales training, we learned that we have to introduce our company at the beginning, right? Which is what they do. They introduce their company before they go into their presentations for the product. They tell them a little bit about their company. And the top performers do this. They introduce the company here. But when you look at the timing on average of when they're actually spending more time in the company story, they're spending more time on the company story after they presented financial terms, right?
Wow.
So look at this. The average reps, they talk about company story early in the conversation, and then they present financial terms here, right? Whenever they do it. Top performers, they present financial terms later, right? So they spend more time in the home. And then they spend a lot of time on the company story, which is kind of interesting because means. Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt. It's so good to see this data because I have taught this for 10 years and never had any proof behind it.
Nobody listens to Alan.
It's the whole idea. No one cares about who you are until they decide that they want to work with you, right? It's one of those, like, your warranty doesn't mean shit until they decide that you have a product that they're interested or a problem they have that you can solve. And once they're like, okay, you have my interest and I'm considering doing business with you, now tell me who I'm getting into business with. But before then, it's like, who cares? You're just another sales guy at their door.
I don't care about your company.
Yeah, so I love that data. So sorry to interrupt you, but that's beautiful.
No, that's exactly. By the way, we didn't expect to find that. We had it there, that slide, and some sales coaches, they were like, "Well, that's wrong," because I teach it the other way. I'm like, "Listen, man, I'm not trying just like."
I love it, and I love the talk speed stuff. I love the patient stuff. We talk all the time about, are you listening to respond or are you listening to understand? Like, that's very, very important. Like, if any of you guys have ever been on Voxer messages with me or Jim Brewer, if we're on the same thread and you got me on 3x, like, you can't understand a word that I'm saying, but you put Jim on 1x and it's like, man, spit it out.
You got to speed Jim up. You got to slow Alan down.
Yeah, so I love all these metrics. I know we're getting towards the end of time, and but maybe we can talk a little bit about this webinar. I don't know if you have any other questions. And
let me ask one more question, and then let's get into, if people are interested, what are the next steps? So real quickly, Sebastian, how did you come up with this? Like, how did you get involved in the ride-along idea for our service industry? How did that happen?
I used to do stand-up comedy in New York City. This is true. If you guys look up my name, Sebastian Jimenez, here, and you put stand-up comedy on YouTube, you'll find my stand-up. So I used to do stand-up comedy. And the original primal idea for Rilla, this is not what turned into it, but this is the first time I had this idea. It's because stand-up comics is the most normal thing. If you're a working stand-up comic, you're always recording your sets every single time. In New York City, you're doing like six open mics every single day. You're doing some bringer shows at the night. It's like you're recording your sets every single time and reviewing it, like you're reviewing game film. So for me, it was like I was already thinking, I was like, what if we can analyze my set and like the pitch and all those things? So that was the original idea for Rilla. And I started a startup, and I realized that there's like 10 billion face-to-face conversations happening between customers and field sales and service representatives every single month in the United States. That's data that's comparable to the amount of Google searches that people do every single month. And I said, what if we could go out there and capture these conversations and empower businesses with the same amount of data that Google has on their own processes and their own customers? And so, so that was the idea for Rilla. So, but it's a longer story, but I don't want to take too much time.
Were you a service technician though? Like you?
Oh no. Oh no.
That's
I
so
was a stand-up
fascinating.
comic. I was a stand-up comedian.
That's so funny. We got a quick never trust a comedian.
my mom would agree with you, Jeffrey.
So Alan, let me see. So another question real quickly. Thank you for sharing that, Sebastian. I'd love to hear more about it. Once we're utilizing this program, are these same metrics available to my company, or is it just an internal thing on your end?
No, I mean, you have absolutely full access to log in and see all your metrics. Like I said, you don't need to have Rush Profits to use Rilla, right? You can absolutely
some
log
of you
in.
do know it. Yeah, if you have less than 5, you do need Rush Profits.
Oh, there you go. All right, fair enough. So yes, you have access to that. The big thing that we're doing is we're simplifying it, right? Versus going in and spending 100 hours listening to things, going through each call. We've got a system that we are putting together weekly report cards for each person, and we're comparing that against the sales KPIs that we've set for that individual to find out, are we on track or not on track? It's the classic football game we've talked about 100 times, right? Are you looking at the end of the game and say, what was the score? Did we win? Or are we managing the game, calling plays?
I love that analogy, Sebastian. That is so good.
Yeah.
So that's what Kevin does, right? That's Kevin's role. He's going to give you the metrics on your company from the Rilla stuff, and Alan will help tweak it. But that's exactly, and then also metrics across other companies' top performers. And so
and we're going to have, so to be clear, Kevin's going to be the face, right? He's going to be the guy that is presenting the data, putting together the report. Yeah, because you don't want me. But we've already got plans to hire quite a bit of data analysis personnel that'll be doing I don't want to call it the grunt work, but the stuff that you don't want to be doing as an owner or a sales manager, going in and listening and cutting things. And there's going to be a team of people that are doing that, but they're going to be compiling that, and then Kevin will be the one that is presenting and doing all that. And then once a month, I will be coming in and taking all that and putting it into a coaching plan. So it's kind of a well-oiled machine for as early as it is. But again, this is so new. It's going to probably change 100 times, and the feedback from our customers is going to kind of drive that. So it's an exciting time to be on the front end. If you're an early adopter, you should be salivating right now. If you're a lagger, you're like, man, this sucks. I want to like give me my carbon copy papers.
There's no laggers watching this. No, they might wait. The laggers aren't watching. They're in data. They're on their game system or somewhere else.
That's true.
So Alan, tell them what's the next step on the webinar or whatever's next for you guys.
Yeah. So if you don't follow me on Facebook or follow the Rush Profits on Facebook, go follow that right now. There is a link on there to sign up for the webinar we're having. It's going to be this Saturday, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be me and Sebastian and Kevin, and we are going to show very similar to what we did tonight, give the pitch of Rilla and Rush Profits, and then we are going to give people the opportunity to sign up in bulk. So when you sign up in bulk, you're going to get the economies of scale of having a cheaper license with, versus if like one, you can't even sign up unless you have 5 now, but there's price breaks at 10 and 100. Yeah. And so depending on how many people we get involved, we are going to sign everybody up, onboard everybody together. You're going to have basically a team, and it's going to be phenomenal. So I know we've already got roughly 8 to 10 companies that are signed up for this Saturday. We're going to be, just in full disclosure, we're going to have 3 more webinars. One's going to be after the San Juan Lindemann. Sebastian's head of growth, amazing dude named Will. He's going to be coming down and speaking with me at Lindeman University in San Juan, Puerto Rico next week. Kevin and the Rilla team are going to be working a booth together at the NCSG and the HPBA. So if you want to talk to them in person, you can come by the Rilla booth, and we're going to do a webinar after HPBA and a webinar after NCSG, so that we can sign everybody up in bulk and that they can really just get the best possible price, and two, the easiest onboarding experience. So if you have any questions, you want to talk to us one-on-one, sign up for the webinar. Even if you have a CRM that doesn't currently integrate, sign up for it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to offer the best pricing of the year to all the groups together. And it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, the more people that do this, the better it's going to be for everybody. So, it's just going to be. I'm so stoked.
Well, before we close out, JJ says he's broke. Can someone take him to Puerto Rico? This guy travels to freaking Croatia all the time. It's like
I think he's a comedian.
He's one-man rich guy. He's just, he's making fun of us. That's just
obviously his sales process sucks, or he wouldn't be broke.
I think his sales process is you're going to do it or you're stupid. So anyway, okay, guys, super stuff. Man, I feel like when we were doing this, when we were watching you show your display of the PDF while all four of us are talking about AI, it felt like we were in the future for a second. It was crazy. I thought this couldn't even happen a few years ago. But between all of us talking, a live audience, asking questions, talking about artificial intelligence, super exciting, man. Super exciting. Chad says, sign us up Saturday. Can't make it. Sign us up Saturday. Can't make it Saturday to the webinar because I'll be on the beach. It's rough, Chad. And then JJ says he does love us. So he'll be in Puerto Rico too. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Good luck with the new venture. Thank you, Sebastian, for coming into our world. Thank you, Alan, for tying it all together. Thank you, Kevin, for being a new guy on the block. And it's an exciting next step for the whole industry.
It is. It's going to be fun.
All right, guys.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate
Thank you,
guys.
guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Man, maybe one of the coolest things that we've done in here, with the most forward-looking software, with the most internal knowledge of who we are. Like, this is cool. This is so game-changing. I love being on the front of things that can change the industry, and it feels like this is one of them. Feel free to get all the information. Alan will be working super hard with his team, as he already has been, to bring this to our industry. And I'm glad we could talk about it tonight, and hope it benefits everyone. So, guys, that's it. Thank you. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next week. Well, actually, next week I'll be in Puerto Rico with the team. I'm not sure I can pull it off from there. I might try. I'll be down there with everybody. If not, it'll be the week after. So thanks. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. Bye.